folk rock has like the same structure all the way through. It's strophic. It's just going over the same chord pattern all the way through. So the lyrics can really stand out. I mean, the structure sometimes goes off on like a psychedelic trip at the end, but it goes more off the more rocky routes than the folk routes. It's mainly about lyricism, really. It's about storytelling, and it's often political or based off old folk tales. The tonality is Mixolydian, and in the song I just played, She Moves Through the Fair, it's in D Mixolydian. D Mixolydian is based around the flat 7 of the scale. So if we play it on this, is it on the with the root on the 6th, the root on the 5th, which is and the flat 7 is there, play the scale. Then in a different position it's and the flat 7 is there and there. So the melody of the piece is most of the melodic lines end on either the tonic, which is the D, or the dominant, and harmony wise it's usually quite close leaps from up either a tone or a semitone at a time, maybe a 5th, but no major leaps. Rhythmically it's quite it's like a driving rhythm. It's quite bluesy, and really pushes the song, lets it build for the story. When improvising, to get it to sound quite authentic, you can use some pedals which can be used on guitar, bass, keys, vocals if you want. In vocals be a bit more experimental, but yeah, you can use a wah pedal, overdrive, fuzz, maybe more modulation effects like vibrato or choruses or octave pedals, maybe even delay, which would be good on vocals, and more psychedelic lines, which going off the structure again at the start, the second time, in this second part where it goes off on the more psychedelic bit, these pedals will really come into their own. So Afrobeat's structure is has like vastly different sections. It has really long intros, the sections last for longer, and it really has like different textures in to create quite a long song. The lyricism comes in pretty late after the long intro, and it's usually about, especially in Fela Kuti's songs, it's about political references, and it's usually quite controversial. The tonality, it's in Dorian mode, but usually based around a pentatonic. Dorian mode has a flat 3rd and a flat 7th, but in Water No Get Enemy by Fela Kuti, that's in E flats, pentatonic Dorian. So I'll give a quick example. The root on the 6th is flat 3 is there and there, and the 7 is there. And then root on 5th is there. That is. The riffs, especially in Fela Kuti songs, start and end on the tonic, and they have large interval leaps, and so. They go around, they have different sections where the intervals are closed, and then from each different section within the riff, there's quite a big leap between it. The rhythm is very important in this kind of music, and polyrhythms come in a lot. So there's 3 and 2, how 3 and 2 work together. So so this hand's the 3 and it's going 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and the 2 is coming in syncopated, so it's basically 2 different tempos working together, creating the, so it's 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. Like that. So yeah, that this type of music has a lot to do with rhythms and syncopation and polyrhythms, and how different different beats work within each other. So when improvising with this music, you want to use percussion and really focus on the rhythm, and when you're playing melodically, focusing on the rhythm of what you're playing, and maybe try and lock in the band with some rhythms. Also, you could do acapellas within the band. Pedals you could use on instruments. You could use a wah or a drive. Yeah. So yeah, it's new soul fusion track. Strictly, it's fairly strophic. It just comps around a chord pattern usually. Lyrically, neo soul is quite consciously driven. It's meaningful. It's either a love story or a breakup story. Tonally, it's usually in a Dorian mode, with the jazz notes, the flat 3rd and the flat 7th. The same as the previous Afrobeat song, but obviously they're a lot different. A song I did was Fall in Love by Erykah Badu. That was in C sharp Dorian, and then we added a little bit on the end to give it a bit of a lift, which was in F sharp mixed Lydian. I'll play it now. Loop around that, and yeah, that gave us a bit more chance to do a bit more rocky solos. When other people have done more jazzy ones around the that pattern. So yeah, in neo soul, the chord patterns, the chords share a lot of the same notes, and so the intervals are pretty close between them. Rhythmically, it's quite laid back and quite some syncopated little bits in. The drummer kind of pushes the song with a flam on the snare, which sounds cool. But yeah, rhythmically it's pretty straightforward. It's just laid back and syncopated. When improvising, you have to make it a bit more jazzy and fusiony. You have quite big interval leaps, syncopation. Vocally, you can scat. That's pretty renowned in jazz. In drums, you do offbeat drum fills, while the rest of the band stick to the tempo and time signature. The drummer can go off and then come back in. Pedals you can use a clean boost when soloing. Mainly just a bit of delay, maybe a bit of reverb, but it's usually pretty clean. Analysing all these songs together, you can see there's a lot of things that they have in common and a lot of things that separate them. Structurally, the folk and neo soul songs are both strophic, which means that it keeps the same pattern all the way through, which allows them to tell a story. And the Afrobeat is like varying structure with many different parts that can be quite long and repetitive. Lyrically, what I just said, the neo soul and the folk rock tell stories, but also the folk rock and the Afrobeat, they're quite similar because they both have political meanings. A lot of Bob Dylan stuff was political. Tonally, the Afrobeat and neo soul both use Dorian mode, but the Afrobeat uses a lot more of the pentatonic scale than Dorian. Folk rock has a mixed Cyrillian tonality, but so did the neo soul one when we wrote our extra bit towards the end, which we used F sharp Mixolydian. So that shows Mixolydian can also be used in that concept, and some of the folk rock songs like Tamlin can have Dorian tonality. Neo soul and folk songs, in the folk songs often use chords of 1, 6 and 7, but in the folk song we did, it used a flat 7 which sticks to the Mixolydian tonality. Most melody lines in the songs start and end on the root in all of the songs. More so in the Afrobeat. In the jazz neo soul song and the Afrobeat, they have quite large leaps between, like interval leaps between notes, and in the Afrobeat song they have very repetitive licks. Rhythmically, Afrobeat and neo soul have a lot of syncopation. Folk rock has a bluesy, more simple rhythm, which allows it to be quite trancey, and allows for you can concentrate more on the lyrics and the storytelling. In conclusion, the folk song's main attributes are strophic structure. They have a driving, simple rhythm, and it's all about storytelling. It's mostly centered around the vocalist and the story they're trying to get across. Afrobeat is really renowned for the polyrhythms and the syncopation in their songs. They also have acapellas, and the lyrics are very political. They also have a lot of repetitive licks and riffs that come back during the songs. Neo soul has Dorian tonality and uses jazz chords, It has big interval leaps and allows for offbeat drums.